Peace, you already know who it is. I'm not sure we're back in here for the fourth time. Like I said, we haven't even got into no knowledge. And I got cut off 2 times. I haven't even got into no real shit. So, the immortal God. For those who have been paying attention, y'all know I have said that this is the year of Rahu. 2020 is the year of Rahu. What do I mean by that? 2 plus 2 equals 4. In Vedic numerology, number 4 is correlated to the energy of Rahu. Right? Let me turn this down a bit. Right? I've already explained this story over and over again. Alright, we good. We good. I just had to press the little button on my phone for the low battery. Okay, what I was saying. So 2020, 2 plus 2 gives us 4. 4 in Vedic numerology takes us to Rahu. Right? For those who are not familiar with the story of Rahu, Rahu is a demon that becomes immortal. Right? A demon that becomes immortal. This is what we just seen play out right before our eyes. We just seen the mythology of Rahu play out. Let me give further details for those who may not understand just yet. Rahu being a demon, he strived to become an immortal. So what he did was he disguised himself as a god. When amongst the gods, they were passing around a holy nectar. The holy nectar just touched the tip of his tongue before his head was cut off because he was discovered. Right? Once he was discovered, they cut his head off. However, because his tongue touched, the tip of his tongue touched the nectar, he became a head that was immortal. And his body became known as 𝔬𝔬𝔴𝔫𝔩𝔬𝔞𝔡, which in Vedic numerology breaks down to the number 7. So we have the number 4 that gives us the head of Rahu. Then the number 7 gives us the body that's left over called 𝔬𝔬𝔴𝔫𝔩. And the number 7 is the most spiritual number because at that point, all you were doing is repeating what you have already done. And that's what the unconscious mind is. That takes us to Neptune when we apply the 10 planets. So the number 7 would also be Neptune. So it's the same thing, just explained differently. Just like the number 4, instead of saying Rahu, it becomes Uranus. And Uranus, according to the mythology, swallowed his children and got his genitals cut off, which is why Uranus represents the androgynous energy. So all of these things represent some type of body part being cut off. But let's take it a step further. Because as we all saw the video of the cop putting the knee on the neck of George Floyd, we see that it's symbolic. People were calling that a public lynching, but it is also symbolic of the head of Rahu, putting the knee on the neck. Now it cuts off the oxygen to the brain, right? So the oxygen is cut off because the knee is on the neck. So we still see the same example of Rahu getting the head cut off. The air was cut off from the head, from the brain, which made him lose consciousness and ultimately die. That's what we seen. We saw Rahu play out right before our eyes. And as for those who have been watching, you guys know I've been talking about this story of Rahu before COVID even popped up. In the beginning of 2020, I was talking about the story of Rahu, but we have just seen it play out before us. So now George Floyd becomes an immortal. They are saying his name all over this planet. The whole entire world saw what happened to that man. He has become an immortal. That's exactly what we just witnessed. We just saw it. And the reason George Floyd is the demon, because this whole thing started off because they say that he was trying to buy things with counterfeit bills, so on and so forth. So he was accused of criminality. And that's what led to its death. So the demon becomes immortal. So we see mythology playing out. So on the surface, those who are not familiar with that story, they just see it playing out. This is the first time they've ever seen anything of this nature happen. But again, Rahu represents the demon that strived for something other demons never got before. No demon had become immortal before Rahu, so Rahu had bigger aspirations than any demon before him. So we see the same dynamics playing out right before us. So when it comes to, let's just say, the conspiracy theorists who say this is a script being planned out, they are right from the perspective this is a divine script, but this is not someone pulling the strings. This is what they fail to realize. It is not somebody at the head of a table of some royal family pulling the strings at this point. You could have said that with COVID. They were trying to get everybody to take this vaccine, okay? Because that's what they were saying. They were saying COVID was, what they were trying to get people to take the vaccine. But then when the George Floyd thing happened, now they want people to protest. It's like, which one is it? So this is why these things have to be taken with a grain of salt. Either they try to get people to take the vaccine, or they try to get people to protest and everybody gets sick and everybody die. Which one is it? Right? So what they don't take into account is the astrology, it's the numerology, it's the occult. And this is why I'm here to bridge that gap, so that it all makes proper sense and we don't have to assume, we don't have to point fingers, we don't have to blame people who have nothing to do with this. This is all divine script, not some human being's script. No human being is sitting back planning all these things, even though they try to give it the credit. Like, ever since we discovered the Illuminati, now everything is the Illuminati. Now the Illuminati is responsible for everything. It's never divine. It's always some wicked person planning all it, and this is simply not true. However, they still win if you give them all the credit. If you give some man at the head of, or some woman, all of the credit, some human being all of the credit for everything we see going on in front of us or within us, then how do you acknowledge anything spiritual? How do you acknowledge anything occult? But that's the hard part. It's hard to acknowledge what you cannot see. It's hard to acknowledge the invisible. It's hard to understand the mysteries of nature and how it plays out right before us in terms of mythology, so on and so forth. It's hard to do this study and this research so that you have the eyes to see what's really going on and convey the message. It's not easy to do these things. Like, oh, because I was familiar with Rahu, and this is a 4-year, and we see it play out before us, we see how that takes things out of conspiracy and puts it into mythology, which is science. Mythology is science disguised as story. If you remember the story, then you can decode or decrypt the mysteries within the story. Every story has mysteries or secrets within it. So if you are familiar with the stories, you can pick apart the mysteries in time with your own understanding. So with our own understanding, we can pick apart everything that happens before us and see that the stars always play a part. Not someone pulling the strings, because they do not control the stars. They do not control the sun. They do not control the moon. They have no control over these things. So if the planets are playing a part in any of these occurrences, then we cannot give that credit to some man, regardless of who we think they may be or how much money or influence we think they may have. This is simply not the case. Once we acknowledge all of the hidden factors, then we see the full scope of what everyone else sees as some type of conspiracy. We see the mystery while others see the conspiracy. And when you see the mystery beyond the conspiracy, then you can put it into perspective as to what do you do about it? How does this affect you? What does the story of Rahu mean to you? Because the energy of Rahu is within everyone. Everyone has the energy of Rahu. All right, sorry about that. Again, I got 10% battery. I'm just trying to get all this again. This is like my 4th attempt of doing this. So let me wrap this up. Turn the conspiracy to mystery. Activate the numerology. Activate the astrology. Activate the alchemy. Understand things from a grander perspective. This is what I always teach anyway. This is how you dig into the secrets. Once you understand the secrets, then there is nothing that you cannot comprehend. There is nothing that will confuse you, and there is nothing you cannot achieve. There is nothing you cannot do. But you must give science the ability to be creative. Your science must become creative. That's what magic is. When science becomes creative, that's what magic is. When 1 + 1 can still equal 2, but 2 becomes the energy of the moon. And the moon represents a lunar energy, which is a feminine energy, which is magnetism. So when you discover the secrets of magnetism by activating the number 2, instead of number 2 just representing a digit, it represents a principle. It represents a actual existence and substance in real time. It can also represent the metal of silver, so on and so forth, represent the third eye. The 2 becomes a lot more than just a digit, just something to add up. And when you see the full spectrum of what everything is, now everything is infinite. Every address has meaning. Every name has meaning. Every digit has meaning. Everything has meaning. And once you know what that meaning is, there is no secrets that can be hid from you. So this is just the beginning. I'm going to put more on the website so that we don't get cut off, right? So take these jewels and advance your understanding of what you see before you. Always seek to go deeper into the mysteries. With that, I bear peace.